Paranormal Insights, we're going to take a look at energy vortexes, and is there one in your home?
And we have a question from Bryce. He has a dream about lots and lots of water, and we're going to answer that.
And a wonderful interview with UFO writer, researcher, national lecturer, Richard Dolan. I'm Joseph Ernest Martin.
I'm Cindy Grayson.
And this is Paranormal Insights, where we bring you the latest and best from the metaphysical world.
Here, we give you real tools and insights to your questions as we bring you answers from beyond the ordinary.
Cindy is a certified hypnotherapist with a specialty in past life regression. She also works with spirit guides and white light entities as a medical intuitive.
Joseph is an award-winning psychic of 25 years and the author of the international bestseller, The Quest to Row. Joseph is also the recipient of the Visionary Award of Excellence.
Just the thought of energy vortexes to me is a fascinating thing because, I grew up near farmland, so I would see dust devils all the time in the fields and all that motion of the air. But the thought of energy that actually moves on its own or has its place of origin, and that energy could be beneficial, to me is a fascinating thought. It really kind of almost reeks of like sci-fi or time travel.
It does. And I don't know if you have ever walked into one and you've gotten a little dizzy, you forget what you're talking about, and you wonder what just happened. And I have learned since then that that's an energy vortex.
We were hiking in the hills at an energy vortex, and this vortex itself was, they had made one of those walking labyrinths on top of it.
Yes.
And in this labyrinth, I was up on the hill looking down on it, and there was this overwhelming energy of me wanting to fall down the hill or roll down the hill because the energy of this vortex was drawing so much. It was so centralized that even on the rim, you could feel this energy moving you and this almost irresistible feeling to want to just go forward toward it.
What's interesting is when you find that you are in one, you really don't want to leave it. You kind of fight the clock and you go, how long can I stay here? It really does recharge you.
So, how do you find a vortex in your home, if there is one to be found? There are several ways here, quickly, are 7 that you may find helpful to you. The first is dowsing with an L-rod. An L-rod is a wire or coat hanger that has been bent into an L shape. Place the L-rod in your hands with the longest portion in front of you. Then walk slowly forward. When the 2 rods cross or repel, you may have found a vortex. You can also use a pendulum. The pendulum will spiral either clockwise or counterclockwise when you are in or near a vortex. An EMF detector or Gauss meter detects magnetic anomalies. That's a big word. This device can find the vortex and tell you its strength. However, this only works on magnetic vortexes, and there are other types. An FM radio can also be used because there is often an area of silence inside a magnetic vortex. An FM radio will cut out inside of a vortex. A frequency counter will drop over a vortex. A cell phone will get no service over the center of a vortex. You can neither make nor receive calls with your cell phone inside of a vortex. Binoculars will show a shimmering heat wave near a vortex. This is supposed to be caused by the time-space distortion of the grid point. Then there is visual observation. You can see that nothing grows over the center of a vortex, and those trees and shrubs planted near the vortex will be distorted in the way that they grow. Trees will usually be twisted in some kind of shape. Also, watch for animals and insects as they are attracted to vortexes. You may find an anthill over a vortex or a swarm of gnats. Cats are very sensitive to energy and like to sleep on or near a vortex. There is no reason to be afraid of a vortex. We are exposed to energy waves, radio waves, cell phone waves, and many other types of waves all the time. We can use vortexes for healing, for spirit communication, for meditation, and much, much more. Give this a try, and you may find that you are living with an energy vortex in your very own home.
And puts things back in balance within your body.
And balance is a good thing. The balance health part is a really important factor where these energy vortexes are concerned. You know, Richard Hoagland in his talks will talk about certain meridian points, maybe you could call them, on the planet at certain kinds of marks or latitudes where the tetrahedron inside the Earth, when its points touch the outer surface, it creates natural focus points of energy, which of course, you know, the Bermuda Triangle is a famous focus point of energy. And now in the news for what they're discovering off its coast, there are so many anomalies on our own little planet surface that it behooves us to really try to understand not only what these energies are, but how we can maybe even use these energies for our own betterment or understanding, or if you're really going to talk about sci-fi, maybe dimensional time travel.
That's right. And what's interesting, I live out on 5 acres, and I didn't know about energy vortexes when we bought the property many, many, many years ago. But watching the animals, and more animals come onto the property, and they stay in certain areas, it's very circular. And the more my vibration goes up, and my husband is kind of coming along with this a little willingly, and it's interesting, we are drawing more and more wildlife and more plant growth and fewer weeds. It's amazing. You just have to tune in and actually work with it because it's reciprocal.
Yes.
You're helping the environment is helping you.
And you can actually figure out yourself if you have these vortexes. Now, we were talking also about the L rods or the classic dowsing sticks. There's a number of ways to make them or use them. You can look for that, you know, on the internet yourself and how to make them. They're very easy, very simple. You know, some people say, well, you know, those rods, if you tilt your hands, they'll move, or if you tilt back, so they're not really accurate. But once you get a handle on how to hold them, they will move on their own.
Would you like to create an energy vortex in your home or perhaps in your yard? It's very easy to do it. Remember that thought is energy, no different than a prayer. That's proven in quantum physics. You don't have to take my word for it, and please don't. So remember, thoughts are things. What we think, we create. With intention, you can create an energy vortex in your home. First, decide where you want to create your vortex. Is it indoors or outdoors? It needs to be where you are already at, or some sacred space that you're willing to create and you have access to. Perhaps you already have one and want to create another one. For me, I've created one in my shower. Yes, my shower. Like most people, I've not carved out enough time each day to honor my own energy, but I always make time for a morning shower. Using clear intention, first fill every inch of the space with pure white light from Creator. That white light is living and breathing. Many call it the Holy Spirit. When I fill a space with white light, I envision sparkles along with its pulse. Where there is light, darkness cannot exist. That includes stress and negativity. Be sure to visualize the white light swirling in a beautiful vortex. And with intention, establish this vortex to be fully active 24/7. Depending on your area, you should add objects that have spiritual meaning for you. While creating this area, take time to sample its energy. Stand or sit in the vortex with your eyes closed. Take 3 deep cleansing breaths. Just be in that moment. How does that feel? Is it complete for you now, or do you need to add more to it? When you're finished, give thanks for this beautiful healing energy vortex. Whenever you, others, or perhaps animals step into this space, notice the instant change in mood, energy, or behaviors. It is so calming. The vortex can also be used to meditate, manifest, heal, pray, or problem solve. The possibilities are endless. Like I said, my shower is one of my energy vortexes. For years, I have found most of my solutions to my life challenges in the shower. Where will you choose to create your energy vortex?
They are a fantastic indicator and cheap and easy to make on if you may have a vortex in or around your home. Now, in some people's homes, there'll be a vortex usually in the basement and usually associated with a hole that's actually dug down, sometimes a well hole or a pit hole in a house, a lot of times they will naturally have a lot of energy.
That's pretty cool. I want to go back to the divining rods because my dad is a whiz-bang at this, and he finds water all over the place with them. What's important with using the divining rods is that you hold them very loosely, and it's all about intention. If your intention is to find a vortex, they will cross or spread at a vortex. If you're looking for lost keys, then that's when they will cross. So you can use them for many, many different purposes. It's all about intention. And like my dad says, do you want to know how many gallons per water is flowing underneath the ground? I said, yeah, how? He says, you got to ask the rods, and they will tell you.
They will actually tell you.
They will. They will.
Now, I've seen some real experts using divining rods or dowsing rods or these L rods, and they seem to have a really focused, great intention knack on making those work. Though, you know, even though I mentioned the basement thing, you don't have to be afraid of these kind of vortexes. What'll happen is kind of something like this. You should feel the energy flow. You could feel the attention to this or draw to this energy, and often it will draw spirits. Sometimes energy vortexes are like portals for spirits to come into your home or into your life or environment. You can actually close down vortexes too. That's important to know.
That's true, but who would want to? I shouldn't say that. I like my vortexes. And now here is Richard Dolan, a UFO researcher, writer, and lecturer.
We're here at the UFO conference in Santa Clara, California, and I'm with Richard Dolan, and I had the pleasure of hearing Richard Dolan speak today at this amazing show. Richard is a UFO historian for over 12 years. He's written 2 fantastic, thorough books about UFOs and the national security state, and his information is so thorough and factual that if you ever get the chance to hear this guy, you will be blown away. Now, Richard, you have seen so many things, especially in the last 12 years, and your approach is a scholarly approach.
Right.
What is happening with the UFO field?
Oh my God. Well, where do I begin? We have, you know, a worldwide UFO research community. People in America, we got people in Europe, we have people elsewhere in the world. In the U.S., what's happening? I'm trying to think, where do I even begin to tell you? I think that there's some very good research. What I think is happening is that our world, our culture is going through such massive changes right now that we ourselves are trying to keep up with how to do proper research in this world. 50 years ago, the problems that people had were very different. It was like how to get enough data, how to find good UFO reports. Today it's the opposite. Today we're inundated with an ocean of data. There are probably 12,000 reports of UFOs in North America alone every year. Probably
12,000 UFO reports.
Very likely. We'll never really know the full number, but I would say that's a good estimate based on the databases I know. And most of these never get really investigated in any proper way. So we've got all of that. We've got YouTube, where you've got hundreds of UFO videos to look at, and most don't get investigated. You've got Facebook, where people copy and paste the latest news and rumors and whatever. So we're flooded. We're like swimming out in the ocean. Here comes a tidal wave about to knock us over because we just can't keep up with all the data.
Now, there's a lot of data that comes out these days, but some of it, to use your own terms, some of it is official truth, and some of it is the real truth, but some of it is like, you know, Photoshop truth.
That's right. Yeah, we have an era where, you know, for those of us who are real truth seekers on this topic, we're getting hit from both ends here. On the one hand, you've got a top heavy, like a pyramid power structure right at the top that really does control the majority of the news that we see. I call it official truth, the stuff you're supposed to believe. On the other hand, there's this actual reality going on that doesn't get very much love from mainstream media. It's obviously going on. We have a research community that sometimes gets it right, sometimes gets it wrong. There's a lot of misinformation out there. And then you have people out there just trying to pull a good yarn, you know, photoshopping. This has always been the case. So sorting out what's legitimate and what is not legitimate is a constant effort on the part of genuine research.
So how do you determine what is legitimate when there is just this flood of new, everyone has a cell phone cam, everyone has access to shooting video these days in a huger way than ever before, and access to editing tools. So how do you determine that truth?
Well, it's never a sure thing. You have to do your best. So one thing I can definitely tell people is never ever just accept video or photographic evidence on its own merits. You have to do additional investigation of the case. If there are multiple witnesses, if there's a person you can interview to study that technology, implicitly you have money, secret money going around Congress because you have to keep a secret from them. So you've got a lot of political implications here, a lot of illegal implications. Secondarily, I think it will become a political issue because this is a secret that cannot be kept forever. Right? It's been kept a long time. But it's also been seeping out for a long time. And we as a society are going through such a dramatic revolution right now. You think about where we were 150 years ago when we were just a bunch of people with horses pulling wooden carts. And then we go through an industrial revolution where we learn flight, atomic bombs, and radios and televisions and integrated circuits. Now computers, very soon highly advanced artificial intelligence, nanotech, quantum computing. We're reinventing ourselves right now. And in another 10, 20, 30 years, we're going to look very different still. My feeling, my theory, is that we as a society are about to leap into the world of whoever these other beings are. We're going to develop the means within our lifetimes, most of us, to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt openly that this is real, and they, whoever, whatever they are here. And when that comes, all hell's going to break loose. That doesn't mean we'll have all of our answers, all of our questions answered, but it does mean that we're going to be in a completely new era in which you want to talk about brass knuckles and duking it out. Boom, that's going to be the era, because we'll have it out in the open, but we won't all agree. We think our politics are pretty contentious now. Wait, give it a little time.
And if you have questions, I have to tell you, his work is so fact-filled and comprehensive. You are going to love. You're just going to love it. How can people find you?
I have a website called keyholepublishing.com. Just like looking through a keyhole. Keyhole Publishing is my little company. I publish books. I also have a blog site that I keep with my co-author of AD After Disclosure, which is called afterdisclosure.com.
Very good.
You can find me easily through either of those.
Fantastic. And Richard, what would you have to say to someone who, like yourself, is intelligent, has a scholarly bend to who they are, but is also interested in helping in this area or the disclosure area for UFOs?
Well, I guess the first thing I would say to anybody who's interested in this topic is make sure you're as educated on it as you can be. And always distinguish between what you know and what you think you know. It's okay to speculate. It's perfectly cool to do that. But always remember what your facts actually are. The other thing I would just say is be courageous. And by that I mean not simply courageous in the face of this very difficult, mysterious topic, which does have a creepy side to it, but also courageous with your own beliefs. That is, be willing to challenge what you think you know. What I find is most of us, we get to a certain age in life, and then we think, okay, now I'm a grown-up, and these are my beliefs, and now I'm going to spend the rest of my life filling in the blanks of what I think I already know. And what I've discovered with this topic is it is vastly more complex than that. So you have to be willing to challenge yourself. And the other thing is, when I say being courageous, be unafraid, be fearless when you talk about this to other people. They're not going to bite your head off, even if they laugh. Big deal. Have it out. What I've discovered is over the years, when I first started researching this, I didn't tell anybody. I thought, oh my God, I can't let people know I research UFOs. God forbid. Then I sort of came out, as it were, and what I discovered is that people are hungry for information on this. And when they find somebody who's got some knowledge, they want to latch on, they want more. And often people don't realize that they're hungry for it until they're exposed to it. And then they realize that there's been this gap in their life, this lack, seriously. There's this huge issue, and they think, that's fascinating, I want to know more. So don't be afraid to talk about it to other people.
And you know, the younger people today, I think, too, are much less afraid. They are much more hungry for the new knowledge. And if you're looking for that new knowledge, this is the man to go to. Richard Dolan. His work is absolutely phenomenal. Richard, I want to say thank you so much for taking time to be with us today.
love Richard Dolan. I got to tell you, I have met many, many people in the UFO field, and this man has so much integrity. He has so much knowledge and intellect. I have heard him speak again and again, and if he is ever in your area, I so wholeheartedly recommend you go see him and hear what he has to say. He is the most honest, research and scholarly researcher I think I've ever met.
Well, and we want integrity with our researchers, and we know that there's too much evidence to deny that there's other life forms. And so it's time that we start listening to those with integrity, not those saying the sky is falling, and that we can connect, we can listen, and we can further our own advancement as a society.
Well, you don't need to embellish the UFO field and make it bigger than it is. It's already pretty big and pretty wild. So Richard brings his expertise, years of research to this. I want to tell you, Richard, it was such a pleasure talking with you, and I hope we get a chance to do an even longer segment.
And now we're going to answer a viewer question from Bryce, who's had a dream about lots and lots of water.
A few years ago, I had this dream of water coming over my head and over the house. And my mom has just recently moved to Florida 2 or 3 years ago. And I was curious what you could tell me about if it's a safe place to be and a safe place to stay. It's something I've had a concern about, whether the dream is possibly realistic or not.
Bryce, great question. Fascinating dream. Water, Florida, your mom. There are so many elements in there. I've asked my guides to come in. I've asked your guides to come in. Let's see what they'd like to tell you about what kind of meaning this dream has for you. This is very interesting for me to see for you, because the first thing I want to say is this dream is all about family. It is the emphasis of this dream. It is the energy of this dream. And it is specifically related to your mother, so not family in general. Now, of course, we know those are the elements of the dream, but your guides say that it is definitely about those two elements in a very strong way. Honestly, I feel you're going to be living in Florida, my friend. So there's going to be a move for you in your future. I feel you already know that, but you're kind of emotional about it. The water in this dream really represents not only emotion, but strength where you're concerned. The overflowing of water is your overflowing of strength into this new beginning that you'll be doing. Now, I feel your mom and you are very connected energetically. You are really linked in this lifetime. And, that's a good thing. I want to tell you also that this is about you choosing to be strong, heroic, and take this next segment of your life very seriously. Now, just to quell any fears you might have, this has nothing to do with a flood. You're not going to be caught in a flood. There isn't going to be a flood. Your house is not going to flood. This is about emotion, moving, and being ready for this next segment of your life. You're meant to come out of the shell that you have created in your past and step forward into the new you. Like the hermit in the cave who has already contemplated and figured out what they are and who they are, you are going to move forward and come out of the cave now into the spotlight and into the sunlight. Since Florida is such a sunny state anyway, it's a perfect state for you to come forward into the brightness of this next segment of your life. And honestly, your mom has a big part to play where this is concerned for you. I would be talking to her. I would share this dream with her, and I would ask her how she feels about this dream. Though I want to remind you, the dreamer is always the best interpreter of the dream. No one else. It's always the dreamer. And that's because these archetypes for you have meaning for you specifically. And you want to look at what they might mean for you, not in general, but in specific ways relating to your life. I think you're going to enjoy this next segment. I think the move is perfect for you, and I think your mom is going to help you a lot where this is concerned. Bryce, I want to tell you, fantastic dream, fantastic job, and what a fantastic future you're going to have for yourself.
Bryce, my guides are telling me that your dream is a memory of a prior life in Atlantis. The dreams seem realistic because you have already experienced it. You were in Atlantis during the time of its destruction. I don't see or feel any danger for you or your mom due to flooding in this life. Read some books on Atlantis to see if you get goosebumps or chills. And chills are confirmation of truth from the other side. I'm being told that you're drawn to the lost continent of Atlantis, drawn to its futuristic advanced technology. Most important aspect of recognizing your prior life in Atlantis is that your soul survived. You're probably drawn to large crystals, especially quartz clusters. If you don't already have one, consider getting a quartz cluster for meditation purposes and spend some time looking for that quartz cluster so that you know it's the crystal that you should work with.
I love questions about dreams and about past lives. And I actually just loved what you had to say about his past life connection with Atlantis and all that water.
Well, and that's the connection, because when he thinks about Florida and these dreams, his cell memory is flooding in, so to speak, and he's mixing that up with his current life. The cells are going, uh-oh, we remember this, don't let us go there again. And so it's just separating out the past from the current is a real skill. But once it's brought to your attention, you can feel the difference.
You can feel the difference, and not only that, but you know, when we do readings, different psychics, different people, I like to think of it as different people describing the same elephant by each holding a different piece of it. And so I believe both of our readings have aspects of this important part of your life that you need to pay attention to. If I were you, I would definitely get the crystals.
Oh, absolutely, get the crystals. But what's important is you don't just buy one, spend time, ask if this is the right one for you, and you will know it.
We want to answer your questions and address your topics. If you have questions you want answered, let us know. If you want topics you want us to look into, we're easy to find. You can find me at questtarot.com or email me at joseph@questtarot.com.
You can find me at cgraysonhypnosis.com or email me cindy@cgraysonhypnosis.com. You can watch this program on Comcast Channel 17 in the Sacramento area. See more at accesssacramento.org. And on Comcast Channels 23, 28, and 29 in the San Francisco Bay Area, as well as AT&T Uverse in the state of California, Saturday evenings at 7:30 p.m. and Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Also check out betv.org and more channel listings at attservices.net.
You can follow us on Facebook, Vimeo, or YouTube. Simply search Paranormal Insights, Cindy Grayson, or Joseph Ernest Martin. And be sure to watch our new weekly series, The Magic Minute, where every week you learn easy-to-use everyday magic to make your life better. Every Wednesday on Vimeo and YouTube, where it only takes a moment to make magic. And when you watch the videos, be sure to click like and subscribe. Please send us your questions and topics,
so we can share our paranormal insights
and answers from beyond the ordinary.